I did check out your latest missive on JAKIB You've been previewing each of the positions, breaking them down in interior offensive linemen, exterior tackles, interior offense and defensive lines. And your latest one was the cornerbacks. After doing the entire offense, you got through the interior and the linebackers with the Eagles. Now you've moved on to the cornerbacks. The top three guys are given, and the top three guys are very good. I would put the Eagles' top three, including Avonte Maddox. He is the fair-skinned John McMullen and the just as Caucasian Jody McDonald. You got your Birds 365 guys here with you, counting down the days till Eagles training camp opening up. Players report 8 days from now, next Tuesday, and Johnny Mac does not expect to be there day number one. He has not yet received his Eagle schedule, chomping at the bit, checks his emails every 15 minutes.
Yeah, I do.
It's not there
it's
yet.
Kind of ridiculous, to be honest.
When did they? Can you remember back to last year? Do you know how far out they sent you the first version?
Yeah,
of
it was
the Eagle
probably
schedule?
it was probably similar. But man, I get emails from most of the teams around the NFL, and they're all in. Let's put it that way. I mean, everybody gets their ducks in a row a little bit quicker than Philadelphia.
So hold on. You're on the Seattle Seahawks emailing list?
Yeah, I'm on just about everybody's emailing list. I used to have, a national column, Jody. So I'm still on everybody's email list.
All right. That's good to know. So out of the 32 teams, how many would you say have put out their preseason, at least week one schedule?
I would say at least 20. We're past 20, I would say. A lot of teams, as we said, have to do it early because they're bringing in rookies like Buffalo and the Raiders. Obviously, theirs have been out for a while. And then as this week goes on, more teams will be populating. So that's part of it. But it is strange it's taken this long. Now, they do have to deal. They have the largest media contingent in the NFL, and they have for years and years and years. Even bigger than New York, bigger than Chicago, bigger than everywhere. It's pretty amazing. So they have a lot of logistics to deal with that other teams don't have to. So that's part of it as well. But I like to tweet them.
And yes, John expects an email sometime soon. His name might be 86th from the list for questioning the.
They know I'm joking. Okay, it's all in good fun.
I'm hoping that's the case for you, Johnny Mac. All right. I did check out your latest missive on JAKIBSports.com. You've been previewing each of the positions, breaking them down in interior offensive linemen, exterior tackles, interior offense and defensive lines. And your latest one was the cornerbacks. After doing the entire offense, you got through the interior and the linebackers with the Eagles. Now you've moved on to the cornerbacks. The top three guys are given, and the top three guys are very good. I would put the Eagles' top three, including Avonte Maddox, as your inside cornerback. With any other threesome in the NFL, if you're talking about using three DBs, three cornerbacks, and the NFL is, what would you say the percentage is on that, John? Amount of snaps on defense where teams have three cornerbacks on the field?
It's about 65-35 now. So, one of my pet peeves is people still call base
defense
4-3-3-4. It's not the base. That's the sub package.
Right.
The base is the nickel. Avonte Maddox here played, I think, I put it in there. I think it was 65-ish, somewhere around there. He played 65% of the snaps, which was a career high. He had bounced around a little bit early in his career. They finally settled down in his natural position, and he played really well. So you're right. That first three is really good. Certainly one of the best trios in the NFL on paper. Now, James Bradberry coming off a down year, but we had Pat Leonard on. Remember, Pat said he was playing through an injury. So that's a positive. Just a really good player. Darius, I just talked about, he's 31. I'm not concerned as much as the age as the regression to the mean theory, I'd like to say. How can he have a year like he had last year? Probably not. I mean, if you're going to be realistic, 3 defensive touchdowns. I think he was third in the NFL when it came to passer rating, when they were throwing at him, third best. Gave up 30 yards a game when he was traveling with receivers. That's pretty tough to duplicate. Really tough to duplicate. But he's still going to be a good player, really good player. And then Avonte is just solid, one of the best nickelbacks in this league.
And if you believe the Eagles will get more defensive pressure this year through hook or by crook, either because Jordan Davis steps in, changes the dynamic, gives them more of a middle push, draws more attention on the defensive line, which allows the speed guys like Hassan Reddick, everyone's banking on double-digit sacks for him, being a force in getting into the other team's backfield. It should make things easier on the cornerbacks for the upcoming season. We'll see. So if they're good in the 3 starting spots, the question is, who are the top 3 backups at each position? CB1, CB2, and in the slot with Avonte Maddox. They've got a lot of guys, a lot of which they went out and acquired. It wasn't just undrafted free agent signings. There have been draft picks used. There have been trades where guys have been included. There are a lot of guys who've been talked up pretty good, but have never really done anything on the field just yet in their career. Who are the top 3 backups right now, John, in your eyes, going into the season? CB1, CB2, and nickelback.
Well, I would say right off the bat, they have 13 cornerbacks on the 90-man roster. So real quick, if Darius Slay gets a hangnail in camp, he might sit for a week. They got so many bodies at corner. So the theory is, they'll be able to find somebody among all these young players. It's interesting in the OTAs. If you just go by the OTAs, it's Zach McPherson, Mac McCain on the outside, Josiah Scott in the nickel. But I don't think how that's going to end up. This team seems to really like Tay Gowan, the player they acquired in the Zach Ertz trade. He has everything they look for in an outside corner. Is really, really long, really, really fast. I think they want him to succeed. They picked up Jimmy Moreland on waivers from the Houston Texans. They wanted him for years. They liked him when he was in Washington. They tried to acquire him before. He's a natural slot corner. They have a lot of natural slot. I think Zach McPherson should be playing in the slot, to be honest. Kerry Vincent should be playing in the slot. So while Josiah Scott starts as the backup because he's been here the longest, ultimately, I think one of those guys is going to beat him out. So if you ask me who are going to be the top 3 backups, in my opinion, it's going to be McPherson, it's going to be Gowan, and then it's probably going to be Vincent. Maybe Moreland can beat him out. Maybe Scott can beat him out. But they have some versatility as well because McPherson can play inside, and I would argue he probably should be playing inside. But the 4 guys who are going to be here are the 3 starters and McPherson. Those are, and then it starts to get a little bit murkier.
All right, John, if that is still up for debate, who gets the final vote? When one of the Eagles' starting 3 corners go down, somebody's going to have to fill in. You gave us a pretty good breakout of the way you see it. But who's going to get the final say? Is it the defensive backs coach? Is it the defensive coordinator? Is it the head coach? Or is it that guy up in the front office who you just said they went out and got Jimmy Moore because they've liked him for so long? Yeah. Nick Sirianni and Jonathan Gannon weren't here when the liking of Jimmy Moreland started. So that's Howie Roseman. who's going to make the decision? Who does step in? The three starters are unquestioned, but who is going to get those key fill-in plays when somebody goes down is still to be determined. Who's got final vote?
Well, Howie, technically, if you're talking by definition, I mean, Howie has control of has control over the 53-man roster. Now, would he exercise that control and say, no, we got to keep Jimmy Moreland? I don't think so. I think that comes into play with, we talk about all the time, first round picks, second round picks, Jalen Ragers of the world, JJ Arcega-Whitesides of the world. Sometimes those guys get kept, and they wouldn't get kept if it were just up to the coach. And if the coach had complete power, say it was Pete Carroll or Bill Belichick, and they had control over the 53. So ultimately, when it comes down to a position like corner where the Eagles have 13 and all these young players, yeah, how he's going to, who does Nick Sirianni want? Who does Jonathan Gannon want? Because Nick is a CEO coach, remember now. So he's going to be involved in all of that. Jonathan Gannon, Denard Wilson, the secondary coach. If they say, we want Tay Gowan and Kerry Vincent, the Eagles are going to be fine with it. Howie's going to be fine with it. I think that kind of stuff you're talking about, that's the Jalen Reagor conversation. That's the Eagles coaching staff might not want Jalen Reagor, to be honest. They might have Jalen Reagor, if you get my drift.
I do get your drift, which is understandable on both fronts. Why the coaching staff would be ready, willing, and able to move on from him. They had nothing to do with him being here to begin with. And the general manager might want to just hold on to him a little bit longer so as to save getting egg on his face with the first-round draft pick that he used on Mr. Reagor. He is John McMullen. I'm Jody McDonald. We're going to punch up our next guest a little early. I need to exit stage left a little earlier today. So looking forward to talking to our next guest. He is one of the harder hitting Eagle beat reporters. In other words, glass half empty. Always fun when Bob Groats from the Delco Times joins Mac and Mac, McDonald and McMullen here on Birds 365.